Science with Miss Macmillanstein. Separating solutions. There are three possible ways to separate the solvent and the solute: settling, filtering, and evaporation and crystallization.
Today we are going to talk about different kinds of solutions. We're going to look at how to separate solutions and how to saturate solutions, amongst other things. Now, I don't have any copper sulfate, so I'm going to do this experiment with table salt. For us to do the experiment though, we need to go to activity 16 on page 10, and I'm first going to make the saturated solution. What we need is 50 milliliters of water and some normal table salt. I'm going to add the water to my jar and then add the table salt through a filter so that it can get into the correct place. So I'm going to add quite a lot of salt, because a saturated solution means that the solute particles will fill up all of the extra spaces between the solvent particles. Right, so we want the salt to fill up all of the gaps between the water particles. Now this is going to take a few minutes, so I'm going to continue stirring off screen. I'm going to stir until all the salt dissolves, and then add more, and then stir and add more until it will not dissolve anymore. And that will indicate to me that I now have a saturated solution.
How can we remove the salt from the solution? We cannot let it settle, we can't filter it, so let's try evaporation and crystallization.
So now I'm going to decant, which means to pour very carefully the saturated solution out of the jar and into the smaller little bowl to just have the saturated solution. So I want to pour carefully and not get the salt layer that's at the bottom to pour in as well. This is called decanting. Okay, so very gently pour the solution. We only want the solution, which is the liquid part, to pour into the bowl.
I've placed the pan on the stove, and I'm allowing the water to evaporate through boiling, and you can already see salt along the tide line, as well as the salt that is splashed up on the side of the pan. After a few minutes, all of the water will boil away. Let's see what happens then.
Into another jar so that it can evaporate naturally.
Look at that.
I'm going to take a little bit.
It's leaving a powdery residue.
Very rapidly to see what happens when we boil it.
When a saturated solution is allowed to evaporate naturally, it creates large and pretty crystals. If it evaporates due to boiling, it creates powdery particles. The dissolved salt and water mixture